Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back. It's Chris 50, looking here, 50 Shades of Gray. Welcome back to the Rappin' Richie podcast, episode 3. Thank you for having us into the new year, starting out 2025. We got some great topics to touch today. Go ahead and do a little introductions. Just a reminder for everyone.
Jay.
We got Richie, Rappin' Richie here.
Brian with Deathless Racing.
Our special guest today. So on that note, let's go ahead and jump right into it. JP.
Well, guys, it's been a couple of weeks since we got together last. Christmas has passed us, and well, maybe Christmas for the car collector world too, because we had both Kissimmee and Mecum last month. So kind of crazy. First week of the year, we were running into car auctions, and literally Mecum overlapped with Barrett. So while people were showing up to go to Barrett-Jackson, they were still selling cars in Mecum. You know, they had that Porsche 917 at Jerry Seinfeld's that was Steve McQueen used in the Le Mans movie. $25 million bid. It still didn't sell. It's just crazy when you see some of these cars and just the incredible values that they are demanding at this point. I participated in both. I bought something home from Mecum, not that I went. Whole accident, we'll probably talk about that in the next episode. But yeah, I got another truck in the collection. And then I sold a truck at Barrett-Jackson. So very different as far as the feel, as far as the type of buyer and the type of sellers and the type of cars you see at both the auctions. It's interesting. I mean, a lot of people watch them on TV. The most interesting thing I think about when I think about these auctions is everyone thinks that all these cars are out of reach. And the one thing I can tell you is that is not the case. Everything you see on TV, yeah, the average guy sitting at this table probably isn't going to buy it. But if you are watching the auction online, or you have telephone bids, or you've been looking at the catalogs, find something you like, there's more than one way to get the car. And I'm going to tell you, if it's not on TV, it's probably cheaper than you can build it. So people trying to get in the community, that's a decent way to get in. I would still urge anyone that's going to actually bid on anything or try to add to the collection to at least physically put their hands on it and go through it and make sure it's going to be a good match. Even though if you do a telephone bid with Mecum, they actually hire people out to go to the vehicle and walk the vehicle with you. So you can ask any questions or have them look at the paint quality or the fit panels, or if there's any signs of cancer, or there's anything that doesn't meet the description, because a lot of these cars aren't really inspected because they bring those cars in from all around the country when they do the sell. So all I can hope for is with all these, $6,000 cars that they've sold in the last 30 days, or close to 6,000, I should say, that we should have an amazing car season, because I'm looking out the window right now and I think I see snow, and I'm just tired of seeing snow.
I think we all are, Jay.
I think so too.
Yeah, I'm about done with it.
I had a question actually. Have
Sure.
you looked at Bring a Trailer?
So it's interesting that you asked this, because I could talk the whole cast on this. So if you've watched our episodes before, you guys know I got this 300 CE Mercedes. Love the car. There's that whole Miami Vice thing. I mean, my generation, Magnum PI, Miami Vice, that was the cornerstones of who made us who we are. And so I picked that thing up, and I ended up buying something else and decided maybe I should let the Mercedes go. And first thing I thought of was Bring a Trailer. So Bring a Trailer I've been on and off Bring a Trailer since about 2009, 2010. And at the time when they first got started, it was really, the more unique the vehicle, the more they wanted it. They've gotten to the point now where I think they're turning down more business than what they're actually participating in. They've gotten themselves into like a little niche market. And I can say this because a friend of mine that sold a car at Barrett Jackson, and it's not the car that you think of at Barrett Jackson. It was the early 2000s Jaguar had like a smaller four-door. Well, he had the station wagon of that car. Only 1,100 of them made it in the United States. And it was British racing green with a beautiful tan leather interior. He offered it to bring a trailer with no reserve. 1,100 of these in the United States, no reserve. Bring a trailer said no.
That's wild.
Wow.
That's crazy. So I've done a little bit of research. Bids and cars, that's another great one. I sent the link to these guys earlier this week. There's an incredible 1984 500 SEC with an AMG kit on it right now on that site, and it is, it's unbelievable.
It's smoking, yeah.
It's a smoke car. And then Barrett Jackson has bought Auto Hunter. And those guys, I actually talked to them about doing the Mercedes, and those guys really are looking to expand the name. They actually had a booth at Barrett Jackson, and they were talking to people about it. But I don't think they're getting the foot traffic as Bring a Trailer owns the internet at this point. eBay, a friend of ours that sold his Cobra continuation, the blue and white one that you saw, he just sold it on eBay, of all places. And it went for a good chunk of money, but no one really talks about eBay. You talk about eBay now when you buy parts for your car, because eBay's got everything you want.
That is true.
Yeah, it is true. I mean, that's where you go to buy parts.
That is a good point.
I don't go there to buy cars anymore. I go there to buy parts.
Mm-hmm.
I sold cars and I bought cars on eBay, but now I go for parts, especially like this Mercedes. I bought the headlights I bought off of eBay, and they came from the Czech Republic. So you got stuff coming from all around the world, which helps when you're working on something kind of unique, kind of like what you have behind us. I mean, that is, I don't think you can go to AutoZone and get anything for that besides maybe a battery.
Literally, yeah, pretty much, and it's a lawnmower battery, which is even funnier.
But you might not be able to get at AutoZone. I would say you go to Sears, but I don't know if if there's any more Sears.
Believe it or not, it's actually it's either most people either use like a lawnmower battery, or believe it or not, the popular one is a Prius battery. Same
Really?
exact size. Yeah, it's a Toyota Prius battery, and apparently
Really?
it's the most reliable one.
Interesting.
I just thought a Prius battery would be bigger since so much of the car can run on battery.
You'd think, but it's actually like, I don't know, it's like that big. It's really
Wow.
not that big at all. You'll probably see it if I pop up in the videos in a little bit.
Okay. Cool. Well, I think we're going to do a walk around the car after we're done,
Yeah.
so maybe we can point that out.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But anyway, yeah, so there's a lot of different avenues. The whole scene is really expanding. I think with Mecum doing as many sales as they're doing, I bought 2 cars off of Mecum this year alone. I think Mecum, for me, going forward, is going to be my main focus point. And maybe bids and cars might be the second point. However, I put that thing on Marketplace, and I think we got a guy coming in from Kentucky tomorrow night during the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl may be getting that car back to Kentucky.
That's funny. Speaking of Marketplace, that's where I found that. It was on Marketplace.
Nice.
Well, there you go. I mean,
Yep.
it's easy, and I mean, unfortunately, who needs another excuse to get on? Of course, people probably didn't know if he was still sitting down or if he was actually walking. He probably thought he had wheels on his chair or something.
Probably.
All right, cool. All right.
So anyway, I'm hoping with as many cars that have been selling on these marketplaces and stuff, and going back to that Mercedes on bids and cars, that thing's been sitting in someone's garage. It's got 10,000 miles on it. So I'm really hoping to see vehicles that have been hidden away in some people's garages actually get out and get on the circuit so we can be shared with everybody else.
I agree with that one big time, especially from a driver's point of view, where since I'm heavily massive on driving the cars instead of just letting them sit in somewhere and then just they're not doing anything. They're just expensive paperweights essentially.
Yeah.
That drives me just drives me nuts. So I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. So let's hope for a nice, strong season to see something different. And that's the great thing about the DMV area. And it's probably a bad thing for me because the town I grew up in is probably the most car-friendly town in the United States. Everyone in my mom's neighborhood has at least 5-car garage. And my parents have a 5-bay garage, and I swear to you, I think all the neighbors make fun of them because it's the baby garage. You know, oh, you're the guy with the baby garage. But I got a lot of friends in the neighborhood and multiple friends in the neighborhood that have 2,000 plus square foot garages on top of the 3-car garage that have attached to homes. Because the weather is, in the summertime it gets in the mid-90s. I think it cracks 100 maybe 3 times a year. And in the wintertime it's high 60s, high 70s. So it's
Arizona living.
It's perfect. It really is. It's perfect. And it's dry, and the roads are nice. Everything's great. So, with all that being said, a lot of my friends back home, even as car friendly as it is, they don't buy and flip cars like you get here. I mean, literally the friend I just talked about that sold his car on eBay. That is probably February now. That's probably the second car he sold this year, and he's bought at least 1 car, if not 2. And this is a heavy rotation out here, which is kind of cool for us because we get to see so many. But anyway, looking forward to the season. Looking forward to some sunshine
I feel you on that.
and some steel.
No doubt. No doubt. Rapping Richie, what's going on in your world, man?
So yeah, Richie here. Just an update on the shop. We got some high demand now going on for PPF, paint protection film. We
You
just
got
bought-
something coming soon, I hope. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly. We've got a new Graphtec 9000 FC 9000 plotter that we just put a clear vinyl wrap. We covered a vinyl wrap that we had done earlier with a chrome, like an amylite gem, and then we covered it because it was starting to get, a little bit of wear and tear on it. So I told them to bring it on in. We fixed it up, put some clear coat on there, clear vinyl wrap, PPF with the plotter. Cuts precision right down to the T. It's just one great thing that we're actually adding to the DMV area, to what we can do here to support the DMV area and the car community. We've got some really cool colors as well. There are PPF color wraps also. There's going to be a new printable thing that you can do now with PPF on top of that. And it's still got some really cool colors with with vinyl. So we're picking up a lot of commercial wraps and just getting things going with protecting cars. We actually brought in Brian Donahue here, who's been talking already, and we've got a really cool car that we're looking at doing a project on. This is actually a Suzuki Cappuccino, right, Brian? Yep. You want to talk a little bit about that and tell us, what kind of sparked the interest and then we'll show a design where we've kind of
Why a cappuccino, not a Americano or something?
Or a latte.
All right, that's up to the developers of the car, the guys that made it back in Japan, because that's where it's from, not me. So it is a 1992 Suzuki Cappuccino. Right now it's built to a pretty much a track car, as you can probably tell with the wide body kit that it has and its tire setup.
Any plans? What's the project plan?
Well, how long have you had it?
So I picked it up in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I've had it for about a year now. Actually, just
See,
crossed that year
I
date.
can't imagine a car in Tennessee.
Yeah, I was shocked to find it there of all places, believe it or not. So what happened is all great stories start with that. What happened was,
You were on the way to Jack Daniels to pick up a case.
nah, I wish. No. So I was driving a daily at the time. It was a Buick Encore. That was
No bad mouthing Buicks at this table.
Well,
Okay,
anyways,
that's a short story.
Anyways, anyways, I ended up trading it for that, just because anyways, Buick's Buick. I'll leave it at that. So
Women drive Buicks.
What sparked the design for it? And, talk about that. Like,
so.
So let me ask: was it already wide body? Was it already?
Yeah, so I picked it up as it is right now.
Okay, well, all right, but then, okay, I might let you slide a little bit.
So I picked it up as is. I was down in Georgia. I was actually living down there for a little bit. I was a couple of my friends, and we were like, because originally I was supposed to get a C5 Corvette. That was my main goal.
Giddy up.
And I was like, all right, cool. I'll get a C5 Corvette. And then somehow one of my friends found a marketplace. We found this. It was like, hey, instead of a Corvette, you should definitely see if you can just swap, just even trade the Buick for it. And I'm like, why not?
So can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay. So I know I got a couple of Corvettes. So I know there's a whole gander of guys doing the Corvette racing.
Yeah.
So that's obviously a different class, right?
It's a different class, yes, but at the same time, so that's kind of where I'm like, and I'll explain that once I explain where when I went for the first test drive is where I fell in love with it. So I was originally, the reason why I was going to get a C5 Corvette is my friend up here actually had one not long ago, and we would take that out to the mountains every night, out to, I probably shouldn't say
No,
where.
cops
Mexico.
watch this too,
Mexico
so you
in
might
the
want to be careful.
Yeah, exactly. I was to say Mexico, somewhere out in Mexico or Japan, your preference. So, well, what we would do is we'd literally meet up at a gas station, or he'd come pick me up from my house. We'd get in his Corvette. It's got 500 horsepower to the wheels, and we'd book it out to the mountains, and we'd run the mountains from 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the morning, almost every night. We'd literally be doing it either every other night or if not every night, and it's a blast. So that's where I fell in love with all the mountain racing and stuff like that, besides other places that if you know me, you know. And so that's where I got the love for the C5 Corvette. So fast forward a little bit, trying to get one, I got this. Now, when I went for the first test drive, I kind of didn't really know anything about the car. Literally didn't know squat about it. All I know is all right, this thing's small and it looks cool.
So did he get in the passenger side? I wonder why there wasn't a steering wheel on it.
No, so I knew it was right-hand drive from the get-go because
Okay.
I've heard of the decay cars and stuff like that, and that's what's classified over in Japan because it's so small. I get into we go there, all out of Tennessee, about like an hour and a half drive. We get there, I see the car, and I'm just like, this thing looks like an absolute track monster from just looking at it is, because, again, wide body and stuff like that. I get in it and start driving it, the turbo. This thing's turbo is no joke. It's pushing about 22 pounds of boost.
Wow.
And it weighs, at most with me in it, 1,200 pounds.
It looks like an angry poodle.
Insanity.
It's a monster. It's mean. It is absolutely mean. This thing is insane. It's pushing 130 horsepower, only weighs 1,200 pounds.
Wow.
It'll literally spin tire first through third gear. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I feel like I can honestly keep up with the Corvette in the mountains with this thing. Sure enough, my friend actually, who I was living with at the time, had a C7. Sure enough, we'd take it to the mountains, right on him. Except for the straightaways, of course, where he obviously beat me for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So, but in the turns, this thing is immaculate. I love it. Absolutely love this thing.
That's pretty cool.
So that's kind of where I'm like, all right, cool, I can definitely turn this thing into a track car, and that's where we're getting into the livery that it's about to be getting very, very soon. And it's actually funny. So the reason that it's getting it's getting the Death Wish Racing livery, and that whole topic came about was because one of my friends, again down there, wouldn't race me because he knew how fast I was, and he was just like, dude, somebody needs a Death Wish to race against you, and that's kind of where that name stuck. So hence, now it's getting.
I just thought you liked Charles Bronson, but okay.
No. This is literally once I heard that, I'm like, that sounds like it's got a nice ring to it.
Well, and also what brought you here too is Rich's services.
Yes,
And
definitely.
Rich, you want to explain? You guys are kind of collaboration that you're going to put together on this beast over here.
So we've got a design that a friend of mine actually put together based on some thoughts that you had.
Yes. So
Brian.
I originally sent Rich because I've known Rich for a while now, and that's why I went to him for this job. Is because that and his quality of work that he does is amazing, as you can tell with some of his other cars. And so, yeah, that's pretty much
5 years.
that. Yeah,
So,
it's been a while.
I know this is kind of off topic here, but I'm just going to throw it out there. So there's a movie. It's on it's on YouTube. It's called King of the Hill or King of the Mountain. It was done in the early '80s, late '70s,
Right.
and it's actually got he was an easy rider, not Fonda, but the Dennis, was it not Dennis Weaver? It might be Dennis Weaver. Anyway, and that guy's like one of the, he was an Oscar winner. But they did this movie, and it was about racing in the hills above L.A. Because I used to drive Mulholland all the time. I lived in L.A. for a long time. When I had my M3, I would go up there.
Right.
Now, nothing like what you guys are doing, of course.
Yeah.
I keep it in the speed limit.
None of Mulholland anyway. We'd be going over the edge.
Everywhere. Anyway, this guy had a 356 bathtub Porsche, which, it's a 4-cylinder, going back the whole David versus Goliath type thing.
Yeah.
And Dennis Weaver had a 63 Corvette. And he had the Beast, and the other guy had the Porsche. I don't know why Hollywood wants to destroy Corvettes, so I just gave the engine away. But it's an interesting movie, and what's crazy is there was this whole genre during that time frame because the hill racing was huge in LA for the longest time, and like Chips and anyone that had a show that ran more than one season would have to have an episode dealing with hill racing because of how big it got out there. But that was the only movie that I know it was dedicated to it, and it's not a bad movie. The car guy, you get into it just to see the other cars. Lots of Trans Ams, and we all know Trans Ams are awesome. So lots of Trans Ams and Camaros and stuff. But to me, it was just kind of cool because everyone thinks everyone in the 70s and 80s jacked up cars and put the big 60 series tires on it, and you couldn't drive them. There was a whole movement of people trying to make cars handle. It's kind of cool. You should check it out, and I'm pretty sure it's still on YouTube.
I'll definitely have to look into that. But yeah, so
It might be kind of corny for you now because of how advanced
yeah,
it's gotten. I mean, once again, you're talking about a car here that weighs nothing and lots.
yeah. But at the same time, it's still old. I mean, when I went to the track just a couple weeks ago, I met a guy out there. His name was Calvin, and he had a 1970 Mustang. Had a Boss 302 engine in it.
Kind of like Pirelli's over here.
Not like that. A little bit. It's like That's the 70, so it's a little bit different on the back end. That looks like a 69, maybe a 68.
Well, no, it's a 70 because 69 I have a scoop right here.
Huh. But it wasn't the Boss. It was just a regular Mustang, but it was motor swapped. So, but that thing, oh my God, I fell in love with that car too because it was fully adjustable brakes, fully adjustable suspension all the way around. It was squared, same exact tire size all the way around. It was an absolute monster on the track. It was keeping up with Porsches, which I found hilarious because everyone, nowadays hypes up these Porsches. And it's funny because when you go to the track and you see a bunch of Subarus of all things beating Porsches, dude, it's hilarious. It's great.
Yeah,
pretty crazy.
It's awesome.
My college roommate had a Mitsubishi dealership, and he could drive an Evo. I don't know if anyone around here could keep up with him if he was behind the wheel. That guy.
Evos are deadly too. If Evos, when built properly, are absolutely insane.
Yeah. Don't eat your lunch if you're going to get. If he's driving, don't eat lunch beforehand.
So what's the ultimate goal to get you guys collaboration with Rich out there on the street so you can hit the track?
So it's pretty much. Hold on, sorry. Say that again.
When are you trying to get this completed with Rich?
So
Get it
when?
back out on
So
the track?
hopefully
Time for the season, or
in time for the season, yes. So we're what still technically the beginning of February, so hopefully the end goal is by the end of this month, if not some point in February or March, is pretty much like the peak of and the start of track season. So that's definitely when I want to get this done. And I got to do a couple other things. It needs bucket seats, it needs a cage. I definitely want to change the rear wing again. And
I mean, what kind of safety do they run you through? Or
so it depends on the kind of car as well. So for example, this is a removable hardtop. So therefore, it technically classifies as a convertible, which means it has no structural support.
Okay.
For example, compared to your hardtop vehicles, which have like actual pillars and stuff like that, where it has a lot more structural support for rollover protection, stuff like that. So it needs a cage, just like a lot of the Miata guys struggle with, is they all need cages as well because they're the same predicament.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much that wise. The seats aren't really too bad. The only reason I want to get buckets though is because the amount of G's that this thing likes to pull when going sideways or around turns, in other words.
is it 50 Shades of G's?
I don't know about that. But
Well, you talking about buckets, so one of my projects that unfortunately the weather has stalled me out, hopefully we break through, is getting bucket conversion done to my 67 Chevelle. So hopefully we get through this week and kind of ramp things up and I can get my project back on track as well, which I'm really looking forward to for this year's car season.
So, speaking of which, if you need help, let me know, because that's one of the things that Death Wish Racing does, is we're not just a racing team, I'm building up a company as well to where we are going to be trackside assistants essentially. And because I'm trying to get a garage at some point, because they have garages on the track that you can run out, and I've talked to Rich about it. And that's kind of the goal with Death Wish Racing, is to help people while they're there. So for example, say you're at the track, something breaks while you're there and you don't have all the tools that you need. Or if you can find me if I'm there and just be like, hey, something broke. All right, I would be like, cool, let's bring it into the garage right around the corner, or right on the track, and just throw it up on a lift and check out what's going on, possibly fix it there so you can get back on the track.
So can you lay beads down?
What do you mean?
Can you weld?
Oh yeah.
Fabricate?
You can do the
Yep.
whole deal, huh?
I can pretty much do anything. 'cause-
Mobile unit.
Okay, so next time we got some sunshine, I got some seats in a Buick that need to be fixed.
Talking about Buicks.
It's not a, it-
It drives me nuts. I
Hey.
want to say stuff.
hey, it's not a race car,
No, it's classic.
but it's a Buick.
Okay,
So-
so if it's an older Buick, then I'm down.
It's
Yeah,
a
it's
61.
classic,
Yeah, it's a
yeah.
61.
Nice.
So,
All right, so the older Buicks are fine.
what track circuit are you guys roaming?
So usually, our main course is, since there's multiple at Summit Point, which is your Shenandoah circuit, your main circuit. There's the Shenandoah main. There's like two other ones because they've got like 4 tracks there in total. But that's our main setup. But we'll travel, or my goal is, especially this summer, I really want to go down to VIR. Want to race there. I really want to go up to. I want to say, I keep forgetting where it is, but it's Watkins Glen.
Okay.
I really, really want to race on that track this summer, and possibly any other ones that are relatively good. My dad actually wants to fly me out to California so we can race at Laguna Seca at some point.
Oh, yeah.
So
That'd be insane.
that's
Well, the good thing for you is I think that can fit with the carry-on size in Southwest.
exactly. Yep. You're right in the storage compartment.
Yeah, above head.
Yep. But yeah, so
Cool.
definitely need any work done on your cars, let me know. I can.
Well, I'm letting you know right now,
Yeah.
because I don't know what these guys did when they mounted my seats in my car. It looks like they just used a bunch of washers,
Oh, jeez.
and I feel like I'm sitting on the floor,
Yeah.
and like the passenger seat's like a good 1.5 to 2 inches taller, and it's just
Right.
like it drives me. I think the guy who I bought the car from, that's what he wanted.
Right.
I like to see the road, that's my thing.
True.
Yeah. But I would tell you, going back to California, we had the great fortune. I lived in San Diego for a couple of years. Every year in San Diego, the Navy base, the aircraft carrier side, would have what they call Fleet Week, and they would open up some of
heard
the
about that.
oh yeah, they'd open up some of the aircraft carriers. But the coolest part about it was they took one of the runways and they would make it into a race course, and they would race 1922 to 1972. And unbelievable. They had literally Pirelli Joneses, like 3 of their race cars that Ford supplied for Pirelli Jones. They had all the Trans Am racers, from the late 60s and early 70s. But then they would also have like the mid 60s, and you'd see guys out there with real Cobras and real GT 350s, literally sharing paint.
Using them for what it's worth.
I mean, literally, and a lot of people don't realize this. If you got collector car insurance, because I got a few collector cars, the minute your tires hit the racetrack, your insurance is voided.
Pretty much, yeah. Unless, well, there's some companies that do track insurance.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Haggerty,
Oh, really?
I believe, does it.
Yeah, we're good.
So speaking of Cobras, Rich, why don't you share a little experience that you had recently and where that's going to go into the future?
Yeah, we had the New Year's drive with the Cobra Club. We had 22 Cobras out there. Not sure if you saw it on the Instagram feed, but it was quite a sight. I was riding in a 65 Cobra that I had wrapped in chrome. Might have seen it on the feed here in the back on the loop, but guy named Frank, who we'll probably have on the show at some point, and his son, they both have a Cobra, but basically this year is going to be the 25th year. So we're looking at doing something big this year and trying to put some sort of decal or something on the cars for the next ride, basically, which is probably going to be January 1st, right? Or so the new year. Okay. So we had some good weather. We basically went. We met in, I believe it was Arlington or Falls Church, and then we ended up going into D.C. Right around where the cherry blossoms are around that. I think it's the monument, the Washington Monument there. And
that would be the Washington one?
Yes, and it was cold there,
not
but it was
Rushmore.
nice out.
Right.
No, not
I mean, I just listen to this and I'm like, there's no way this guy's a tourist.
And then
He knows this town.
I'm definitely not a politician, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So then we got, then we went further down and we ended up in Old Town Alexandria. We ate it right on the at a
Cobblestones?
marina. I'm sorry?
The cobblestone streets?
Yeah, it was
yeah.
down the cobblestone streets, parked at a marina there. and
Which
we
has got to be fun in those Cobras.
It was fine. We got right in, went to a parking lot. They had it all arranged for us. We had our own room. We had about 35, 40 people there because spouses, 22 cars, and there was a couple people in each car. I got to drive a couple of legs as well. I'll tell you what, sitting on that engine, it kept me warm.
I was about to say, there was one key point you did not mention in this story. What
Yeah.
was the temperature that day?
It was probably about 30 degrees. It may have been even less.
It was
than
probably
that.
a wind chill of about 15.
Yeah,
honestly.
it was really
I
cold
remember
when we
that
got
day.
when we got to DC right around
Right.
the cherry blossoms. It was probably in the teens.
Well, snakes are cold-blooded.
But yeah, that the engine being right underneath us, man, it kept us warm. It was nice.
That's awesome.
So yeah, 25th
blast.
anniversary, the Cobra Club. Looking forward to doing something special for those guys and getting out there again.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I want to share some good news for you guys and the community and everyone listening, but
You buying dinner?
not for you.
Oh.
I'm organizing a hand-selected, curated car show for a nonprofit historical association in my community area of Oakton, Virginia. It's
Nice.
going to be Saturday, April 12th. We're finalizing all the details now. We're going to be hand selecting roughly 50 to 52 cars to participate, so it will be an invite-only type of scenario. And it's going to be something, again, to help contribute to the Vale Club, which is an 1800s way back historical women's association, to help them maintain the historical architectural building that they have with the Vale School.
Is there going to be a barbecue there?
Hey, you read my mind. I said we have to have barbecue. So we're working on a vendor to have barbecue, some great things, really make it like an old school vibe, home style in the community. So stay tuned for that. And
We went to one last year. It was
yeah,
great.
we had the one in the
Barbecue.
fall. It
Really
was
good.
wonderful, but this is going to be a little different level.
Yeah,
This
of
is strictly
course.
focused on the car show. It's not a community fair. This is going to be all about the car show.
Are they going to do the Boy Scout thing? Because that seemed to be a really popular event for that.
I don't think we're doing that. They're not going to be a part of that. So this is really strictly about cars. I'm going to try to bring in some car vendors and those that want to kind of help promote their services, again, help support the community. And it is a charitable event.
You had me at barbecue, so I'm cool, man. I'm just,
We're going to have some stuff set up for you, so we'll keep you fed. So stay tuned for that. Like I said, we're going to get that orchestrated here. I have a timeline over the next 30 days to start putting it out there in marketing. So you
What's
guys-
that
it
date?
sounded
again?
kind of
It's
saucy.
Saturday, April 12th.
April 12th.
Yeah, and at that time, once the marketing's released, I'll have a backup rain date that will be pushed out to you at that time, so we'll know. Because you never can tell with Mother
See,
Nature.
there you go. You're jinxing it again. We're driving
No, I'm
over
just
here.
saying.
He's like, "Oh my God, it looks like the weather's changing." Next thing I know, I see snowflakes. Now he's like, "Well, I'm going to set up the show. I'm going to put a rain date out there." You're jinxing it, man. Don't even
not
talk
jinxing
about it. Don't even talk about it.
It's called being prepared.
It's called dragging this on.
Unlike things on that end over there, lost for words over here, so.
It's between jinxing it and washing your car the day before, or some point like within the previous week. Don't wash your cars either.
But that's the beauty of getting something ceramic wrap. You don't have to wash it. You just have to
That's
wipe it
true.
down.
That's why we have Rich.
That's why you gotta have
That's it.
Rich.
That's exactly
Rich, get wrapped with Rich and let him take care of you and all of his services.
D&B.
Anything else you wanna add to before we get ready to wrap everything up?
Hey, I think we've said it all.
I think so too.
It's all in a bag of chips.
It's all in a bag of chips, man. Bring the dip next time.
Well, good.
I'm looking at the dip right now.
Well, you know how it goes. We're getting quirky. Thanks you guys for listening in. We elaborate a little bit deeper. Continue to support us, follow us, help Rich and his Rappin' Richie escapade. And we're here to help the car community as well, gain some resources. Check out our feed for links
Yes.
and any other thing that we can do to help feedback and, again, support the community. Thanks. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace.